I entered Gonzaga as a transfer my sophomore year, so the fall of 2023. And I joined the Bulletin because I knew I wanted to write about sports, and honestly, I wanted to write about basketball, so it's been really cool to be able to watch basketball from a completely different view than as a fan. I try to go to games as a fan every once in a while, but being able to talk to the coaches and talk to the players and hear their perspectives about a game and see it through a different lens and have to pay attention to what's happening and see those storylines unfold has just been a really cool experience.
So I covered games throughout the season for the Bulletin, and then for the WCC tournament, I went. It was in Las Vegas. I went with Cam McCann and Zach White and Sam Raines, who was our photographer, and it was a great experience. Got to see the men's team win the WCC tournament championship. The women's team, they lost in the first round, but it was still fun. And I think, especially getting to go into the locker room after the games, we got to interview players. On the women's side, it was a lot more sad just because they had lost and their season was likely over. And then on the men's side, we got to go into the locker room and just experience like how happy they were.
Kind of sounded like the kennel out there tonight, you know, that home crowd representation. What does it mean to have your fans travel so far and show up?
It means the world.
But really something that's so cool, especially being like a college student covering these athletes and also having like classes with them, is that you're able to see them as people and tell the stories of them as people. And I think there's that misconception that like sports journalists really care more about stats than the people. And that's just not the case. Like every time I'm at a game, even as a fan, I'm looking for those storylines that are people focused, because in reality, people want to read about people, not the stats that they can look at on a box score.
I think some people interpret being a sports reporter as just being like a fan, and I think it's really different. And after doing it for 5 or 6 years, going back to high school, I look at people in the crowd who, you know, they're having a great time, they're cheering on their team, maybe they're screaming, they're yelling, and if I'm in the media section, I can't really relate to that. And you know, being able to explain sports or just enjoy sports or even just following sports is a lot different than conveying it to an audience that, you know, maybe doesn't know sports or maybe doesn't understand all of the ins and outs or all of the complexities that go along with each sport, right? Because you can dive really deep into it, but yeah, you still have to make it accessible for your audience.
Being able to be that person on the sideline and see it from literally being right there when shots are being taken and steals and everything is just such an amazing opportunity that I'm so grateful to have through the Bulletin. I think it's definitely given me such a new perspective, and it's just a totally different environment than a regular game because anything can happen in March. And you saw that when you watched the Zags.